What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Teach by Day. I'm Mr. Margo. Today we're going to be doing, again, middle school U.S. history. And today we're going to get through the Europeans showing up to the Americas, but the fact that there were already large Native American empires there, and it was somewhat glossed over, at least for a long time, in world history. Alright, Christopher Columbus is able to convince the King and Queen of Spain, Ferdinand and Isabella respectively, that the Earth is actually a little bit smaller than it really was. It was a win-win for Ferdinand and Isabella. We'll get more into that in the world history videos, but for now, he did convince them he could sail west, finding an alternate route to India for spices. And on October 12th, 1492, after several months out to sea, his men and the morale, all but gone, actually comes across a tiny island in the Caribbean. The Taínos, the people who lived on that island, were the first people to meet these strange new visitors, and it would change the course of history for what becomes most of what we know as the Americas today. Now, let's talk about those people who lived on that island, the Taínos. They lived in villages, they grew corn, yams, cotton, which they wove into cloth, and they were actually friendly towards the Spanish, openly traded with them, although that trade turned very suspicious for the Spanish because the Spanish had things that they had never seen before, and so they traded things like gold necklaces or bracelets for simple things like a button. And they thought that they were savage or dumb for doing this. And Columbus knows if he's going to make it back to these islands, which he still believes is part of India, by the way, if he's going to make it back to these islands, he needs to embellish the truth. And he said that they were easily conquerable, they were ready to be converted for Christianity, and that they had a bunch of wealth. Okay, and he used some of these trinkets as an idea, like they traded a button for gold, okay, and then claimed the island for the Spanish king and killed those who resisted. Because of this, I'm going to use the phrase called guns, horses, and disease, which is a nod to the book by Jared Mason Diamond of Guns, Germs, and Steel, but for middle school we don't need to go quite that in depth. In this case, horses represent the exchange of livestock, but also plants, because this new situation, and we'll actually cover that a little bit further here on one of our other videos, but this exchange was massive across the entire world that still affects us today. And we see that this new phrase that's going to be in our ideas and identities, especially as you look through the world history videos, is that conquistadors, okay, or these Spanish conquerors, they numbered in the hundreds while the natives numbered in the millions, and yet they were still able to conquer them because of many advantages. The first advantage is in the military. Military Spanish people, they had guns and cannons compared to arrows and spears most of the time. There's really no comparison there. But also, they had horses, which were not native to the Americas, and Native Americans had never seen horses before. They were useful in battle, and they could carry large loads of ammunition or just supplies, and the natives didn't have any of those. The largest animals in North or South America were buffalo or bison and llamas that could carry things, but not anything that could match a horse. Lastly, and maybe most importantly, was the invisible invader of disease. Now, primarily it's measles, but it's not just measles. In fact, the list is quite long between measles, mumps, smallpox, and even just simple cold. But the Native Americans had no immunity to these diseases, and by best guesses, may have killed off 90% of Native American populations from North, Middle, and South America. Europeans, as they explored these territories, described them vastly as unclaimed territory, usually because the disease got there well before any Europeans could, and they wiped out the majority of those populations. Enter our first conquistador, Hernán Cortés. He was a landowner in Cuba in 1519, and he landed on the coast of Mexico with 600 men, 16 horses, and a few cannons. Cortés had a translator named Malinche who explained that the surrounding tribes were actually kept under the thumb of the Aztecs, and that they formed alliances with them. They might be able to overtake the Aztecs. So that's exactly what they're going to do. So let's talk about the Aztecs and how they met with this group of Spanish people. Aztecs, a new civilization by large civilization standards, took advantage of what was left behind by previous civilizations and made their stamp on history. A couple of easy facts about them: they were polytheistic, meaning they believed in many gods, but they also believed in ruling with a militaristic guidance, meaning they were warlike or war-oriented. And Cortez had heard the stories of the wealthy Aztecs and decided to set off to conquer them. The Aztecs actually ended up mistaking Cortez for their god Quetzalcoatl, and when he asked for riches, they gave him half of basically everything. Cortez forms a plan in his mind as they go back with the riches that they were given, that he would return for more and conquer the city of Tenochtitlan. Tenochtitlan was their capital city for the Aztecs, and it gave a warm welcome to Cortez and his men when they had arrived. But quite frankly, the Cortez and his men were not interested in being adorned. They were interested in wealth and fame and power. And they started to try to force Christianity on the people there. And for the most part, it didn't really work. And as it started to fail, Cortez and his men decided to stay in the city, and they would work on a plan to be able to capture their leader Moctezuma, try to hold him for ransom. It didn't really work out the way that they did because of another group of Spaniards who landed, causing confusion and a fight to break out. This actually led the Aztecs to drive out the Spanish. And in 1522, Cortez would launch another assault with a few more men, a few more horses, and a few more cannons, and they would actually destroy and capture most of the city or the people. Unfortunately, not much of that portions of the city would have been survived, and today Mexico City is actually built over top of the Aztec ruins. If you liked what you heard and you like the fact that this is a channel that is only giving you basic facts, please hit the like and subscribe, share it with your friends, comment if there's something you'd like to hear. I look forward to seeing you soon.